Hola, Olimpia. Sorry, que Harry no escucha nada. No, no se escucha nada, Olimpia.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Everybody's... Oh, there is an echo. Hold on. Wait a minute, let me try. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. I was trying to get people. There is an echo. I'm going to test now. Is it working?
Yes, it's working.
It's repeating me. Okay, I'm looking for Mikhail. Oh, I got him.
All right. I'm here too now.
Oh gosh, it took all this time because somebody's hacking and my volume is bad.
No problem. Thanks, Olympia, for doing this crazy work.
Right. Can you hear any noise in my line?
I'm fine. I know we can now not hear the music, but I think if you want to put music, we have to put the share screen and the video maybe.
I am recording now. I have been recording all this time.
Yeah, no problem. Can you put me co-host because before everyone
yes.
tries?
Hold on. There is one of the judges missing, and it's coming up. I just admitted.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Fantastic.
So you can talk to the judges now?
Yeah. Awesome. I was just posting in the track F that they will come in a minute. All right. So welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. We had some troubles with the slides and now with this Zoom meeting to set it up. So we are running 20 minutes late, but I hope that you can understand. As you are aware, I think you already had a debrief. You will judge on the, the following criteria of innovation, implementation, the feasibility and everything. And I think you're good with that, right? With how to judge.
Yeah, we just reviewed that.
Yeah. Fantastic. So it's going to be a 3-minute pitch, but only a 2-minute Q&A, which means that you will not be able to all give feedbacks to each presentation. I will maybe select, 2 judges each time for 1 minute each. And I will try to have a fair, like every talk someone else. And I will try to get your expertise depending on the talk as well, as I have a presentation. So I'm going to start the meeting with the presentation and quickly introducing everyone to that, we are ending to the final pitches. And after that, just the quick rules, how that this is going to be processed. So basically teams are going to come. We have the slides. We are going to change the slides for them. And when we do the Q&A, the next team is raising their hand. But I will repeat that anyway. And yeah, we have, I think in total, 19 teams. We have 19 teams. So this is going to be it. I'm super excited that you're here. And yeah, we will try to do our best. Do you have the judge form?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
have them? Okay.
Fantastic. Olympia, did I miss something?
Do they need a list of who is presenting?
Oh yeah, do you need a list of who is presenting or you're good?
I believe that the teams are already listed on the form, isn't it?
Yes, they are. But we can
I'm-
provide you the list of who
For
is
me,
next.
it's okay, but whatever suits you.
Yeah, so we will definitely, I mean, anyway, there is the slides and then we're just gonna call the next one and should be okay.
There is a person that I don't want to get him in at the first time. I wish I can hit and meet all at once. I will remove him and then I will say admit all, and I need to talk to that person because he was the one who causing all this problem.
Okay.
Okay, so I am going to remove him, and if you guys are ready, I will admit everybody. Are you okay?
Are you all ready?
Ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic.
Let me remove him and I'll admit everybody.
Sure. All right, they're all coming. So it is starting to get busy now. I will right away start to share my screen so we don't lose time. Let me know if you see it.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
we see it.
Awesome. All right, I think that everyone is here. I'm just waiting my slides to get ready. So it's a heavy file, so I hope it's going to be fine. It is loading. Slide 2. Okay, let's wait a little bit that the slides are coming, but I can already, oh, here we go, they're here. Welcome everybody for being here for the final pitches, for the final amazing talk that you will all give about the amazing innovation you just prepared for the weekend. I would like to remember everyone that we had an amazing topic, which was supporting marginalized communities confronting the pandemic, and you all focus on different population from different areas, and I'm really great, amazing. That is our partner, and that's, I would like to present our judge. Romero Josta is a Brazilian psychologist and is currently working for Omniversity Adapt Health Professional Institution to eHealth. Do you want to quickly present yourself in maybe 20-30 seconds?
Yeah, so guys, I'm very happy to be here, proud of all of you. And I was a psychologist, but actually I'm an investor right now and a full-time tech entrepreneur. My focus is on bringing digital transformation for health professional institutions in Latin America.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So we call you Romulo or Justa?
Whatever you want. You can call me Rom as well, no problem.
Okay, Romulo. Awesome, fantastic. The second judge that we have the privilege to have is Marcelo Tedesco. Would you like to introduce yourself? You have to unmute yourself. So Marcelo Tedesco. is he here with us? Okay, let's go to the third judge. We can still introduce him later on. Sima Sood, you are from the US.
I am in the US. I work with Philips in new business development. I create new value propositions. I also de-risk early stage businesses and have been focusing on commercial acceleration. And that's my background. So really looking forward to being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. We have Alfonso Ejijo. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Appreciate it for the opportunity to share with you guys. My core competence are the emerging technologies applied to smart cities and smart industries. And I'm an expert evaluator for the Industry 4.0. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Is Marcelo Tedesco on the line?
Yes, Maya, we're ready. Sorry. Yes,
Awesome.
I'm Marcelo. I am an expert in social and transformation, and I am working as a research affiliate in MIT D-Lab. Previous that, I was the executive director for 5 years for MIT Enterprise Forum in Mexico. And after that, I was the director of strategy for Toshiba in America.
Thank you so much. We have incredible human beings that are able to judge our innovation today. So I'm super, super excited. All right. Again, you have been in this hackathon in 3 days where you started with pitch and random, maybe not random ideas, but really starting ideas that didn't, like were implemented. And then you hacked it, you had feedbacks, you had mentors, and now you're able to present it. I remind everyone that these are the judging criteria, but I know that you have seen that again and again. And this, just quickly how this is going to work, you're all going to present 3 minutes. You will have 2 minutes for Q&A. Not all mentors and judges, this time is judges, will be able to give you feedback, but you will have 2 of them. And please, when we reach the Q&A, the next team has to raise their hand, so we know who to unmute. Yes, and then we also very fast, please tell us who is going to talk, so we also know who we should unmute. Yeah, exactly. And I think I already posted that in Slack, so I hope you all read that. And we will have 3 winners from this track, and this will be announced in the final ceremony. So again, this is what I just said. And we are going to start with team F034, economic integration and refugees and irregular migrants during COVID-19. If you can please raise your hands so we can unmute yourself, this will be amazing.
Let me see how I raise my hand, chat.
So I think we hear you.
I'm trying to figure out how to raise my hand, sorry. It's Eduardo Bialostowski. There, reactions, no. Oh, there we go.
Actually, I have a quick ask to everyone. All the people that are not presenting, could you please turn your camera off? So we only see the people that are presenting. This will be amazing. At the end, we will do a screenshot with everyone. Thank you. All right, so the person who is going to pitch is, I think you already unmuted, right?
I believe so.
Yes, I think you are. So again, I'm going, as you know, I'm just quickly looking. I'm going to change my background. When you reach 2 minutes, I will be yellow. And when I reach 3 minutes, you will be red. Then it's time to wrap up, all right?
Perfect.
Perfect. I will be your timer. So whenever you're ready, excuse me, whenever you're ready, I just see other people are not muted. Let me mute other people. Olympia, can you please mute the people that are making some noises? This would be amazing. What is your name on Zoom, actually? I just don't see it right now.
Eduardo?
Eduardo, okay. Eduardo, I think, no, it's good. Seems good. Perfect. Whenever you're ready, stage is yours.
Thank you. So this is our team. If we could move to the next slide, please.
Hold on. Yes.
Yesterday was World Refugee Day. There are currently over 9 million migrants and refugees in Latin America. Of those, over half are of Venezuelan origin. You can see here the top countries that have hosted these migrants. Next slide, please. Even before COVID, opportunities in the formal sector, oh.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm just trying to mute myself. Apologize. I just need to mute myself. I apologize.
Okay.
Just, no problem.
As long as it's like in soccer where you're stopping the clock. Okay. So let's start over. Let's start with the next slide, please. Thank you. So yesterday was World Refugee Day. In Latin America, there are over 9 million refugees and migrants. Of those, over half are from Venezuela. As you can see on the right, these are the main countries that have taken them in. Next slide, please. Even before COVID, employment was falling in a lot of the formal sectors in these countries due to stagnated growth in LATAM. However, with COVID, this effect has been multiplied. People have lost their jobs both in the formal and informal sector, and then even those who haven't lost their jobs are seeing their rates cut or completely or partially. This is creating not only economic conflict, but also social conflict as well, where these refugees are no longer seen as opportunities for future growth, but rather as burdens on the economies of their host countries. As a result, next slide, please. Our team has come up with an idea to ameliorate this issue. We are proposing a 100% virtual business incubator that will help micro enterprises in these countries to be funded. Not only be funded, but also to start up. This will include everything from mentorship to markets, to networking, legal support, as well as, most importantly, funding. In particular, we want to focus on these micro enterprises because we believe that the quote-unquote startup industry is already alive and well in Latin America. But the main drivers of opportunities in the job sector are these micro enterprises that need more support from us. Next slide, please. In particular, we will focus on these Venezuelan migrants because not only are do they tend to be more educated than the native populations of their host countries, but also on female migrants who in some cases tend to be 2/3 of those migrants, and then also are more likely to repay their loans. The impact of these micro enterprises will be felt not only by the entrepreneurs themselves, but also by different migrants who they will be hiring, as well as the local populations, as well as the national governments with the tax revenue. Next slide, please. We have already spoken to several corporate sponsors who are interested in implementing this as part of their CSR campaign, and who also see these micro enterprises as possible future clients and suppliers. Universities are also interested in supplying talent to be mentors, and then we're also speaking to crowdfunding sites who want to fund these. Next, thank you. Our team is made up of an international group of people with experience both in VC funding to refugees, as well as journalists who have written extensively on the issue, and people who are working on the ground with these governments setting the policy for refugee issues, and then finally people who are in the private sector. 3 out of the 5 of us are refugees, and so we want to tell you that we are refugees who are helping refugees cut the red tape. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would
Appreciate
like to have Sema Sood to give the first feedbacks.
Thanks. So how do you expect these migrants to access the resources that they need, like aside from mentoring, to build the actual businesses? And if there's a lack of receptivity for the migrants, who's the target audience for those businesses?
So I'd like to welcome, if anyone else from my team wants to join in. If not, I can answer.
Ask them to raise their hand if they need it.
Does anyone else from my team? If not, I'll answer quickly. Okay, so we understand that there's going to be a substantial difficulty in getting these resources given COVID, but because we're going to be 100% digital, the idea here is that we're going to be providing the resources for them to get their businesses started, right? We're not going to provide, on the ground help, but rather advice on the legal framework. So in Latin America, outside of Africa and parts of Asia, it has one of the most difficult, doing businesses scores. And so that's why we want to focus on that and helping them really navigate that red tape. And that could be, we believe that could be done digitally.
Any more comments, Emma?
So I guess, do you know that the digital infrastructure is there, that you would be able to provide the necessary support through that infrastructure, and that those people that you're targeting have access to that? And how would you also, I'm really interested in how
Sure.
you're going to target that specific population to the exclusion of another population which is also affected by this downturn.
Sure, there's two parts. We're not going to say, oh, if you're not Venezuelan or female, we're not going to, assist you. But I think we are going to target and market this within those populations, be it through Facebook groups. Obviously, especially when you're a migrant, you have very strong local support. And so that's how we plan to find these individuals. And then we've also seen numbers where above 90% of people in general in Latin America have access to a smartphone. And so that's how we plan to reach them, because we do believe that they're already digitized, right? They're already, in the digital sphere. So that's how.
And what's also key is that we're not focusing mainly on tech startups, but rather on micro entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. We just had 2 minutes Q&A. So the other judges, of course, are also judging your ideas, but we will have to go to the next team. Can the team 037 raise their hands?
They're here.
Awesome. Who is the speaker? Is it Arenza?
Alejandro.
Alejandro. All right. Let me just see. Alejandro, whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
I'm ready now. I'll start. Okay. You should stay at home, but what about the people that don't have a place to live? This project not only stops the virus spreading, it also gives a temporary home for the ones in need during these hard times. Next, please. Nowadays, about 80% of Latin Americans live in cities, and 21% of them are living in dire conditions. It is known that homeless are critically exposed to COVID-19, becoming a threat for themselves and for the community. Next one, please. According to Mexican press, the number of online sales has increased about 75% during quarantine, rising the usage of cardboard packaging system, which represents a new environmental issue that we need to be aware of. Next one, please. Because of this, we designed something reusable, removable, and easy to set up. This is the Carver House project, a sanitized place for people in need, providing a temporary place to sleep and a clean workspace for users. The structure of the house is inspired by the work of Singeruban, an architect that works using cardboard and tubes and sheets that have the mechanical and structural properties needed for building. This provides some way of protection for marginalized people, and also a sustainable source of food by teaching them how to grow vegetables and fruits. Furthermore, we are going to provide an economic income by using people's skills to produce some kind of handmade products while following the social distancing protocols to ensure their health and safety. Next one, please. The 4 key points to deal with are the building materials. As we see it, the smartest way to get them is to look for donations from delivery service companies. We need to find a sponsorship to get some money from. Government and private companies could be useful. And also, we will have prepare people for building the houses and teaching the users about COVID-19 good practices and creating a sustainable way of living. We're planning to have workshops and trainee programs to prepare these people to get back to work when necessary and to change their lives in a positive way. Next one, please. The impact consists of providing houses of 35 square meters, which will be located on government fields and public parks, where 4 people can live having all the basics, having 292 people per soccer field, as an example, at a maximum capacity. With an estimated budget of $3,000 per house, if we bought all the materials, obviously this value will go down if we get the sponsorships that we are looking for. In the short term, this will be the usage of the Carver houses. However, in the long term, they could be used as a shelter to relieve a natural disaster emergency. Because of everyone should have the opportunity to stay at home. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. It was a great presentation. I would like now to have Alfonso to give the first feedback.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. I want to clarify the direct or indirect relationship between this project, this proposal, and COVID-19. Can you elaborate on that?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The relationship between your proposal and COVID-19, the focus of the challenge.
As we see it, there's a lot of people that is not taken into account because of their economic status. So we are looking for a solution to this problem. I think that there's someone in my team that could answer this in a better way.
Hi. So first of all, there's a lot of people that are homeless. So they live in the streets. So there's like a focus of the virus because they're exposed to it, and they are a threat for themselves and for the community. So giving them a house to stay in, there is like a possibility to like insulate them and protect from the virus, from them and for the community. So we are like reducing the exposure of the COVID-19.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I would like now to have our second judge, Romulo. Do you have a question? We have 30 seconds.
Hey guys. First of all, congratulations. And my question is, did you take in consideration the complexity of urban settlement laws around Latin America when you thought about the solution?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we were actually told about that particular problem. What our target would be, it would be to have this sort of contract or support from local governments, especially regarding having fields or terrains that they are having available so that we can use them as a spare places to build the shelters in the same way that you build shelters in case of an earthquake or in the case of a tsunami or something like a flood. In this case, we could use also courts, football fields that aren't currently being in use so that we can shelter this population that risk having themselves amidst contagion and do not have the possibility to safeguard themselves in their houses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So it's time over for this team. I would like now to have the team 009 cultural connectivity. You can start whenever you're ready. If you want to put your camera for the talk, please, but only if you want.
Yes, yes, sorry, I was having some tech problems.
No problem. Very good.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm ready to start.
Yeah, awesome. Go ahead.
I was friends with Don Cruz. Okay, next slide. I was friends with Don Cruz, one of the elders in Cuentepec, an indigenous community in Morelos. He died during the pandemic. As funerals are a really important part of this community, I asked when the funeral was. Do you know why they say? They say, don't come. They were protecting me from the COVID. Next slide. People in Cuentepec are rapidly getting infected despite having prevention instructions in their mother tongue. These are not culturally competent enough to prevent infection. Generic instructions are not working. Next. In Latin America, almost 100,000 indigenous people, mostly elders, are getting infected as organizations are having a hard time providing accurate healthcare alternatives due to the cultural gaps. Next. We propose Poete, a platform and consultant group that connects indigenous practice and accessible technologies. By bridging these two aspects, we will co-design with Cuentepec to create effective healthcare and services that fulfill various needs. Next. Our 5-step method is centered on building and maintaining trust. First, we need to establish a contact through a member of the community or the young sector. In Cuentepec, Don Cruz family can act as the first contact. By collecting data about their daily life and their struggles during the pandemic, we will get a firm understanding of their needs. This information will be stored and processed using AI tools to identify patterns and develop tangible solutions for implementation. We are making the most of free mass media and technology, including artificial intelligence and apps. Next. The database will be available in our platform so that we can build strategic partnerships with organizations such as UNESCO, scientist institutions such as INA, and other institutions involved in this challenge. How many times do we need to start our MVP? For Cuentepec, maximum a month. We already have the connections and apps available, and some solutions are really low cost. The hard part is understanding the community. And if we help Cuentepec, our project could work with other communities in America Latina. Next. We are a multidisciplinary team commitment to help marginalized groups, such as this woman, such as Cuentepec. Next. I've already lost one family friend, along with his lifelong stories and knowledge. Bridges are to build, not to burn. Poet can save life now. Next, and thank you.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I would like to ask Ram Justa.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations for your presentation, for your project. It has a very beautiful soul in it. It just wasn't clear for me. What is actually the deliverable there? So you want to inform the local communities on a language that they can understand, right? So it's health literacy you're talking about. But how are you going to deliver that to that endpoint? So is it going to be through an app? Is it going to be through a local community leaders? What is really the main vector of passing information for the community? It wasn't quite clear for me.
Yeah, the fact is that each community is different, but mainly the point of contact has to be normally the elders, and this is a lot of work itself. But if you get to the elders, the ones that organize this community, any solution can be provided effectively across all the community.
Okay. So just one quick question. So at the end of the day, you would have to have some sort of methodology that could actually communicate with the elders. So do you think that could be a technical challenge for you to escalate?
In some cases, yes. The point of contact, we don't explain it in our pitch, but the point of contact normally are the elders, but in some cases, we can actually have another point of contact. For example, younger people. And younger people will be really easiest to work with. And the alternatives to work with them actually would be less costly, as they are kids normally. So working with kids is more easily actually, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. I think we have to move on for the next one. So the next one, if I'm not wrong, it's Amazonian Voice.
Hi.
Great. So whenever you're ready, guess you feel free to start. Do you see my screen?
No, I cannot see the presentation actually. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay.
Right.
Yes. Good afternoon. Your team Amazonian Voice. Meet the next slide, sorry. Meet the Wirral, our case study. Indigenous communities like the Wirral have been particularly affected by COVID-19, cutting their supplies of food and jobs and forcing them to wander off to the cities in search of help. Next slide, sorry. We propose a tool capable of connecting Wirrals to aids available through them through feature phones. Feature phones are basically the phones that are not considered smartphones. They only make calls. Next slide. How? With a machine learning algorithm through the phone. We plan to build a custom data training model to give a voice to the urgent needs of these communities. So they can call they will access resources by phone without internet access in their native tongue. Next slide. But to get there, we're proposing a stage 1 and stage 2. We need to start to implement it manually with skillful translators who can match indigenous needs to available aid from NGOs, optimizing their help. With this, we will create a marketplace for this. We will centralize the help of the NGOs and gain insights for the next stages. Next slide. To train the algorithm, because we cannot work without there's no available data sets for native tongues, we are planning on collecting hundreds of samples per person containing voice phrases, background noises, unknown classes necessary to train an ML model like this. We're basically building this app so they can record themselves, and this is like a basic technique used for machine learning. Next slide. So we're building a multi-stage solution to help right away. In the first stages, we have a tool that could help Wirrals in a more timely and effective way, and not focusing on developing and having a solution for next 6 months. Next slides. How are we going to sustain the business? We're going to plan to sustain our business to pay the servers through a processing fee that could be covered by private funds or the government funding. Next slide. Our plan is to use the communication available to help us reach the indigenous communities and NGOs. This could be through local radios, podcasts, SMS, WhatsApp, and the NGOs through digital strategy and NGOs alliances. Next slide. We are in our early stages, and we develop our marketplace app using Thunkable, Firebase, and Airtable. So we can start stages 1 as soon as possible. Next slide. We are a multidisciplinary team made of business, software, and social science expertise. We're eager to give a voice to indigenous communities with a creative use of machine learning to help indigenous communities tackle COVID-19 challenges. Next slide. And thank you. We're open for questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. For Chis, I would like to get the feedback from Siman Sood.
Thank you. So very interesting solution. What is the penetration right now of these kinds of phones in the communities you're targeting?
Actually, we looked up at the penetration of the phones, and it's basically, it kind of depends on the literacy The smartphone penetrations in countries like Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, and Latin American countries, it's about like 85, 87%, like on an average. Okay. That's smartphones. But feature phones are, we couldn't find anything like the percent of it. But if you have a smartphone, you can easily make a call. So we like having wireless connection like Wi-Fi, I mean like 4G or 3 or GSM or Edge is kind of hard out in the jungle. We are focusing on the communities in the Amazonian, actually.
Okay, and how are those communities today accessing health? What's the challenge? Is they don't have a place to call, or they don't have people on the ground to support their needs?
Okay, I don't know if Raquel wants to answer this. She has like a more experience with like with this specific group, the Warao.
Hello, Sima. Thank you very much for your question. Actually, those groups, the Waraos, they are coming from Venezuela to Brazil. Actually, they are right now, there are some of them in the state of Roraima. And usually they do not have so much challenging on having access to healthcare because there are primary healthcare units that reach them on the tribes. The main thing that we wanted to assess with our proposal is actually to tackle the COVID-19 socioeconomic consequences, such as loss of income, such as, for example, they are unemployed, they are starving, and they need, because of lockdowns, because of the sanitary barriers, they do need, I mean, it's the second issue that they have. I mean, usually they do have information on COVID, they do have access to healthcare, but still the second step is really the livelihoods to ensure that we'll be capable of mitigating the other consequences of COVID.
Very interesting, and a very interesting problem statement. Thank you, and solution. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was just 2 minutes feedback. We have to go to the next team, and the next team is going to be the 017 Edu for All. Are you here? Are you on the line? Edu for All? You can raise your hand.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So whenever you're ready, feel free to start. I will start the timer.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so okay, you can start now. There's one thing that we all have in common in this event. We all had the immense privilege of receiving education. An education that in some cases gave us better life opportunities, and in other cases saved lives. Unfortunately, today, due to COVID-19, many children are not having that opportunity. 154 million children, more than 95% of enrolled children in Latin America, are unable to attend to schools, which has created a huge impact in their ability to learn, mental health, and well-being. Children from remote communities are impacted severely due to the lack of proper infrastructure to provide remote education. Governments are already investing plenty of budgets to provide marginal areas with internet access at devices. However, the existing platforms don't target the specific problems and realities of those children. Next slide, please. Our solution, Education for All, it's a digital interactive platform to deliver educational content to elementary and high school students in poor, isolated, and rural areas in Latin America. Next slide, please. A flexible learning system compatible with technology is currently being used and sustained in these communities, such as TV, radio, and mobile devices. But what makes us unique? a participatory process to target their unique needs and available technology, a student-centered personalized experience using artificial intelligence, and an attractive and engaging learning experience delivering a gamification style like Duolingo reward system to promote uptake and retention of students. Next slide, please. This is the perfect timing to execute this idea because never before so many students in Latin America have experienced remote learning. Next slide, please. Our project will be built on top of cloud platforms and lean development. This will allow us to prototype fast and test an initial release in a few months, and then scale gradually in every iteration. High quality content will be produced at a low cost through academic partnerships and crowdsourcing volunteers. Next. Our business model expects to receive funding from governments, private partners, and startups at the beginning. In the long term, this will be sustained through membership plans offered to private schools and individuals, which will result as a cross-subsidy for the lower income communities. Additional revenue will come from businesses and companies interested in our platform for research, advertising, and marketing. Next, please. Our passionate team can tackle a wider education problem in Latin America. We strongly believe that education is an opportunity in life that everyone deserves. We need you to take action with us. Empower these kids to choose their path in life. Education is the future. Education for all. Next slide, please. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for the presentation. And for Chi's talk, I would like to have the feedback from Alfonso.
Congratulations for the presentation. I want to know the impact of your proposal, of your project,
yes,
in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, so I believe our vision was a tactical and a strategical approach, right? So in a way of tactical approach, we can try to deliver this as a prototype very, very quick on those who must need it, but most are able to get it, let's say like this, okay? So we can select a specific community that already have internet and devices, and they are up to use like this kind of new system as a prototype, and then learn and start using it. That's a tactical approach. Let's help someone fast. But then in as a strategical approach, we can make this a lot broader for other communities, students, and even other countries.
Thank you. Do you want to add something, Alfonso?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't
No,
answer your question.
more than okay. Good answer.
All right, no problem. So then I would like to ask Marcelo, what you think about it.
Thank you, and congratulations for your presentation. This is an offline application app, or yes?
No, sorry. I was, what I mean is, in some point of the design, the idea is to target specific uses of the community, right? So let's say the first prototype can be something online, okay? But for example, I heard some feedback in the practices, and they say like, okay, so we have some towns that they only have radio, okay? So we can adapt. We can use, for example, podcast. We can use offline recordings to reach them.
Okay, and one more question. How is the teacher involved in that?
Okay, so the teacher will be the leader of the system, okay? And the idea is that everyone co-working and co-creating stuff from volunteers will talk to the teacher, and the teacher will be someone that knows how to deliver this content to, for example, a group of kids in a specific center of education, right? That can be, and already they have a school through a device or a TV, for example. The teacher is the leader, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks to you.
Thank you so much for the feedbacks. I would like now to move to the next team, which is the team F031, Mava.
If it's all right, I'm going to be giving a thumbs up when I'm ready to go on to the next slide. Is that all right?
That's good. Let me share. Do you see it?
Yep. People with cognitive impairments are among the poorest, least formally educated, and most objectified groups in Latin America. These individuals are much more likely to die from COVID-19 and its effects than those individuals without impairments. This pandemic has magnified these inequities, but it has also provided an opportunity to empower the impaired in a manner that has never been done before. How, you ask? For our team of engineers, teachers, technology specialists, disability advocates, and media students, the answer was simple and straightforward: knowledge. It may be cliche, but knowledge is the key to empowerment. Unfortunately, many of the country-specific information databases are inaccessible to the cognitively impaired. Their setup is much too complex. Our initiative is an app which caters specifically to the cognitively impaired with reading capabilities. While we know that not all impaired individuals have access to this technology, we are convinced we can still reach a large audience, as internet population penetration is over 71% in South America. This solution, called COVEasy, provides users with the most basic information by taking countries' COVID databases and running them through a simplification generator, such as the Gunning Fog Index. The app setup is quite simple. Upon downloading and opening the app, users are presented with a split screen. One side says health protocol, while the other side says COVID by the numbers. Whichever side you choose automatically brings you the most up-to-date information specific for the user's country. All information is presented in the most basic form possible, and all number-based data will be accompanied by clear graphics. The app is simple, but the best solutions usually are. Furthermore, to advance our major goal of empowering the cognitively impaired, our business model involves ethically selling user data to institutions who align with our vision. Ideally, these customers would include research firms, disability service groups, and universities. Nonprofit funding will also play an integral part in our initiative. Through implementing our solutions, we will have three major impacts. First, we will better contain the spread of COVID by equipping the impaired with the knowledge necessary to be safe. Number two, we will empower and support one of the most marginalized groups in Latin America. And finally, we will indirectly support the visibility of the cognitively impaired. We know that the potential of this solution is limitless. From expanding accessibility to extending globally, we are sure we will make a massive difference in the lives of many. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this amazing talk. For this, I would like to have Romulo, our first.
Thank you,
judge.
Maggie. First of all, congratulations. You have a lot of passion on what you're saying, so I think it touches you personally, right? This is an amazing thing to do. The first thing is that cognitively impaired is a very broad concept, right? Could you please define a little bit more, what is the target population there? What kind of cognitive impairment are you talking about?
Yeah, so when we were discussing what the target user is, we're really targeting people that are cognitively impaired, but people who have the ability to read. And that's a much more specific user population than just cognitively impaired.
Perfect, thank you. And the other question is about the whole monetization strategy that you mentioned before. You mentioned something about selling data, right, to specific sort of partners and everything. But are you aware that this is a legal challenge for you, right? Especially nowadays when there are lots of laws going around the planet trying to discipline that. So have you considered the risks of this data selling process to kind of give the money flow to your strategy?
And that's why we really want to stress the importance of being ethical about this approach and really aligning ourselves with different institutions who share our vision of empowering the cognitively disabled. Our target population for that would be universities. And I know that a lot of universities in the United States are really looking for hard information about how COVID has affected disabled populations.
Perfect. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we have 30 seconds left. Would you like to add something, Sima?
No, not right now. I think I have what I need for the judging.
Okay, no problem. Anyway, we are out of time now. So let's continue to the next team, which is F038, Aldea. Aldea. Yeah.
Aldea.
Whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
Welcome all. We are Aldea, where you find information and deliver healthy. Next. Next. So the challenge is that first, Indigenous infants are 60% more likely to die compared to non-Indigenous during COVID-19. And second, 30% of Indigenous women don't have access to prenatal care. What's more is that there's a 4% increase in Indigenous infant mortality rates due to COVID-19. Next. So here's where we come in. We are a multiple platform that provides Indigenous young women and pregnant women with reproductive information all while at home. Next. So Aldea provides a multiple toolkit, which is composed of 3 different mediums. Why? To target 3 different audiences. First, for those who can't read, we will provide them a radio broadcast. Second, for those that can read but have no internet access, we provide them with pamphlets and brochures. And lastly, for those who have phones and internet access, we'll provide them with an app. This ensures the widespread of information to the community at large. Next. So our Aldea toolkit will provide information about nutrition, pregnancy, local reproductive practices for the Indigenous, which factors in cultural specific sensitivity, as well as exercises and measures and latest information about COVID-19, all in the native language. All this information is going to be consistent across all the 3 different mediums. Next. So to explain our business model further, for the radio broadcast, we'll partner with Radio Amazonas, and for pamphlets and brochures, we'll ship and distribute them with the help of local printing organizations and universities. And lastly, we'll develop an app which features pregnancy and COVID-19 relevant information. Next. Yeah. So in terms of the app interface, which we will offer for those who have internet access, it's going to feature broadcast, nutritional advice, virtual chat rooms, and much more. Next. So here are some of the competitive platforms from the westernized world in terms of apps, but none of them target Indigenous women population. Our uniqueness is that we have a multiple platform where we translate the educational health information and relate to the specific Indigenous women populations. Next. So here's our business model timeline. So we'll get our money by crowdfunding from donations and volunteers. Then we will fabricate and develop Aldea. Then we will perform a pilot study specifically in the Shindu community. And if this succeeds, which we definitely think it will, we will spread to all the Indigenous communities. Next. So we're going to build partnerships with these following organizations to translate and adapt our material so that it can be tailored for each Indigenous group. We're very excited that the Amazonas conservation team shown here is willing to partner with us on our mission. Next. So here are the wonderful faces of the people who brought to you Aldea, and thank you. We're open to any question.
Thank you so much. Now I'm actually asking, will a judge would like to start? Any judge interested to answer? Otherwise,
This is Seema. I would, if it's okay, like to start.
Sure.
Have you thought about strategic partners in this space? So you're talking about education, but there might be strategic partners that are looking at not only education, but monitoring children or providing prenatal care, or and they might do that in other populations, but they might be able to help you in this population.
So other than educational platforms like providing education, so yeah, I guess probably the nurses and the health professionals who are willing to volunteer their time to provide guidance and nutritional tips and the way pregnancy, the way it should be delivered for these specific indigenous groups, that would be the sort of target we're going to reach out for.
Thank you. A very good, a very interesting solution. It was an interesting presentation. My follow-up question is, are you sure that the prevalence of COVID in this population is related to a lack of education? Do you know that that's the primary cause?
I think the primary cause it's not COVID. It's that the increase in mortality rate, which is leading to COVID, which is as a result of COVID, it's being exacerbated. So by providing more educational platforms for these women at their home, I think that is going to help increase mortality, decrease mortality rates for the people in the indigenous Amazonian areas.
Thank you for your answers.
Thank you so much. Now we have the next team, 032, LGBTQ+.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Just a second. Okay. Can I start?
Yes, whenever you want.
Okay, we can start now.
Awesome.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've been told that social ties define us. However, what happens when you can't create those ties is because of who you are. Rainbow Links is an app that solves that problem. Next. The reality is that LGBTQ+ makes up approximately 5% of the global population right now. This population is more vulnerable to COVID-19, not only from the disease, but because they face the pandemic together with stigma, rejection, and violence. Next. We're talking about someone like Vivara, a Colombian transgender woman in her 20s that while social distancing needs healthcare that understands her, access resources that support her, and a way to avoid surrounding abuse. She worries that she will face discrimination and not have the support system if she acquires COVID-19. Next. We are exactly what Vivara is looking for. Our competencies makes us different than other apps out there. We tend to aspire. We acknowledge that there are different needs for different people. Therefore, we tailor healthcare development as well as support our local economy and community by linking affirmative businesses to the people. We protect the community by creating a safe environment. We avoid discrimination and increase representation by reducing violence. Finally, we gather anonymous voluntary data that can be later used to understand the impacts of COVID-19 in the community. Next. Rainbow Links is the first platform for comprehensive LGBTQ+ care. Here, we bring together the pieces that compose those needs. It requires a safe, simple login profile that can be customizable to operate in any language. Vivara and many others can access pre-screened, non-discriminatory healthcare facilities, our interactive map, and telemedicine provider. From our marketplace, pro-diversity partners can offer or sell items like hormone medication or inclusive clothing. We aim to also educate Vivara with other rights and then when to activate our emergency response feature that on the click of a button allows authorities and primary responders to come to her aid when she needs it. Next. Our innovative system allows us to offer in a single space multiple services in a direct consumer model, flexible to the accessibility of the country. To enhance customer acquisition, we plan to partner with provider companies, dating apps, and government that refer services to the population. Referrals and access to our resources would be our initial source of revenue. Next. We project to achieve an overall reduction in mortality, adherence to healthy lifestyles, and active community, and savings for our already saturated health systems. Our project is scalable both for customers and other social sectors. Next. These are our competitors and how we stand out from them in the market. Next. We anticipate an expedited rollout due to the high demand from the pandemic. The prototype for the implementation phase may be realized within 7 months. Next. These are some of our potential stakeholders for this initiative. Next. This is our diverse team composed of LGBT and allies. Next. Thank you so much for your time and happy Pride.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Would any mentor or judge want to give the first feedback?
Yes, if I might start. First of all, Carlos, congratulations. Such an amazing and inspiring idea. And it's time for something like that to come and right now at this very moment, right? Congratulations. So my first question is it's all about trust, right? You have to have the population to look out for sources or communities that they trust. So when you partner with some brands or even some governmental agencies, you might risk that trust, right? So could you please emphasize a little bit more how it's going to be the criteria for the partnership and how this is related to the money flow that you're thinking for the platform?
Yes, absolutely. So right now, the most, let's say, formal way for us to assess those criteria, like of what is exactly inclusivity, etc., we have the recommendations from the Human Rights Campaign Foundation in the States that like filter those characteristics that mention like what is inclusivity. However, since this index is created for the US only, we do plan to collaborate with governments and Latin American institutions because we do need to adequate those criteria to our reality.
Fantastic. Congratulations and keep going. Amazing.
Awesome. We have 40 seconds more. Will Alfonso say something about it?
I'm okay with the presentation and the last question and answer.
All right, no problem. Any other judge would like to say something? Yeah.
And congratulations for your presentation. My question is, how is your strategy to socialize the use of the app?
Okay. So what we plan is basically the social part like of the app is the marketplace where you can share and like resources and products. We plan it, the app is customizable, so you can also like access it in any language and translatable. At the same time, you can also have like chat features added to the app, let's say, in order to communicate directly with the provider on what your specific needs are.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the presentation. And now we are going for the next team, which is F022, Vislumbria.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna be lowering my thumb when I need to change the slide, if that's cool.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. All right, so hi everybody. Today I wanted to meet Ruben. Ruben is a Colombian citizen in Bogota. And Bogota's town hall has decided to give out food donations for people in need. Next slide, please. Ruben didn't need one of these donations, yet he received one. And he knew of more vulnerable people who actually needed these resources. So in the next slide, we're going to see that this is a common situation. For example, in Colombia, 60% of all the economic handouts that were given were hoarded by only 2 out of 33 states. So in the next slide, we see that if we make people choose like this between their sustainability in economic terms and their protection from the virus, that's not going to help anybody. So in the next slide, we see that our big problem is the resources are being in fact given, just not where they are needed. And that's where Vislumbria, our solution, comes in. Next slide, please. And next slide again. So we're going to tackle this problem in 2 fronts at the same time. So first, we're going to identify sanitary and socioeconomic risk factors so we can actually identify the people who need help and know what help they need. We're going to take into account, for example, average age, average income, average amount of hospitals, the infrastructure underlying in the neighborhood. And in the next slide, we see that once we get to know them, we're going to help them. So in the case of donations, we're going to label products with unique identifiers. So when governments and NGOs deliver these packages, we can verify that the donations have been indeed received. In the next slide, we're going to see that, yes, so the information, we're going to get them from open data repositories. For example, in Colombia and Mexico, they have these amazing, huge data repositories from which we can get really detailed information so we can make this happen. In the next slide, we see that the people who could be interested could be enterprises, governments, NGOs, even individuals who want to help can join in. In the next slide, we're going to summarize. So first, we're going to capture the data from Latin American cities. We're going to use AI to process this data. We're going to find multiple types of vulnerability, and we're going to share this information with stakeholders and decision makers. And we're going to overview the transparency of the donations so we can help people out. In the next slide, we see that these are the percentages of poverty in Latin American capitals. So these are the potential people that we could be helping right now with Vislumbria. Our vision in the next slide, we see that we want to use more variables to better predict the vulnerability. We also want to reach rural areas using simplified technologies such as SMS, and we want to reach out to more Latin American cities. So this has been Vislumbria. Thank you for your attention, and I'll listen to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Any mentor would like to start? Maybe Alfonso?
Yep, I wonder about the sustainability of the initiative. If you can elaborate more about the business model and how can it be sustainable in time?
Yes, of course. So we were planning on using plans of Vislumbria. For example, if we can have a classic or free version where we can just monitor, for example, we can't make money out of open data. So with this open data, we can have a free tier of the product and then a premium tier that we can use with more specific information that the governments can give to us. And we can pay for consultancy services. So the governments and the NGOs and whoever is interested can use this application efficiently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other mentor would like to ask a question?
Yes, I have a question. Congratulations. First of all, the percentage of poverty in Mexico is near to 60%, not 30%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, actually, it's Mexico City. We're focusing on like main cities around the countries in Latin American countries.
Okay, it's just data. And my question is, how will you engage with government and donors to use the platform?
Is the question how we're going to engage with government?
Government and with donors.
Oh, with donors. So we're also interested in making the process visible and transparent. So people, especially in Latin America, where there's not much trust to the government, we can really make this process really transparent to everybody, so we can have a better understanding of what's actually happening. I think that might be interesting for public relations for government.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you very much. Now we would like to go for Team F025, Proyecto 360 degree. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Perfect.
You haven't let me use my video. I can't.
Oh,
it says
okay, so
the host won't allow it.
Got it. Olympia, can you activate it? Or allow her?
I can't. Or do you want me to present it like this?
I mean, the video, everyone cool, so that's why I kind of wondered.
Just one second, I'm looking for her name.
Okay, no
I
problem.
already raised the hand.
I got you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you are allowed to do it.
Thank you.
Awesome, we can see you now.
All right, I'm ready. Picture this. You're in a field under the scorching sun. You're covered in sweat while you work the land. Would you use an itchy mask? Next, please. We want to cater for the workers in the agrarian system. That's why we've designed a mask with features that suits their needs. Made from sustainable materials such as organic cotton, linen, and CA, it offers safety and comfort. It is breathable, light, and is equipped with proximity sensors designed to help people keep the safe distance. These sensors are provided with solar panels that power them. Next, please. Next, please. The mask is reusable, therefore it doesn't pollute the environment at all. Since COVID-19 started, in Mexico alone, there have been produced more than 7 tons worth of health enzyme residues, which almost equates the weight of an African elephant. Next, please. Next, please. Our materials are sourced locally. Most of the countries in Latin America have access to them. That's why they are quite cheap. We plan on hiring people who lost their jobs because of the pandemic, or old people who can't really get jobs elsewhere. They will prepare and cut the materials. When this is done, we'll put them into kits, which include a use and cleaning manual to finally get them shipped. Luckily, the agrarian communities already have a communication channel used to distribute their products, so we plan on taking advantage of this infrastructure to reach them. Next, please. Next slide, please. However, to do all this, we need sponsors, who in turn will be featured in our kit boxes for ad revenue in 33 countries. Talk about reach. Next, please. We also want to ally with companies so that their technicians can assemble the sensors in our masks. In retribution, they can be tax-free for over a year. Next, please. This project would impact about 28 million people just in Latin America. This is the equivalent of New Delhi's whole population. Next, please. As a social organization, we do not want to earn any money. That's why all that is earned shall be used to support the project and the communities. Next, please. What motivates us? Well, next, please. Next, please. Well, for starters, our name means protection in Esperanto, which in turn means unity. We chose it because it represents us, a bunch of strangers from all walks of life working together to protect others. We are in a place of privilege, and we believe it's our duty to use it to help those without so much luck. These people work every day under harsh conditions just to put food in our tables. We believe it's time to give back. Next, please, and thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. Any mentor would like to start and ask a question?
So thank you. That was really a passionate delivery and a really interesting approach. I'm intrigued by your focus on strategy, finding strategic partners. So I'd like to understand more about how you will create an MVP, a prototype, and how you will find partners to help you do this work, and how will you sustain their support?
Well, we plan in making a prototype with our own money, and then with the prototype, go to the companies and tell them, okay, here's what I got. This is how it works. And in return, we are going to promote your brand in all Latin America. We also, well, here in Mexico, when you do social services, you get tax-free a whole year of no taxes. So we can tell the companies, hey, you win, I win. Let's get together.
Thank you.
All right. Any other mentor would like?
Yes. Yeah. If I'm sorry. It's just a quick question. First of all, congratulations. It was an amazing presentation, and you have a lot of passion on you. But what about the sensor thing? I didn't quite catch that. Is that something about a sensor that would measure social distancing? Did I hear right?
Yeah.
How would that work?
The sensor, let's say you program it so it senses people within 2 meters from you. So if they get closer, the sensor will activate and tell you like, okay, this person is closer, please take a step back, or ask them to take a step back. So this way people are aware of their social distancing, and it's easier to have it.
Okay, so but how will the person notice that? Would that be a sound or something? How would that?
We'll have lights.
Okay.
So if people, let's say lights are here, and if the person gets closer, the lights get brighter and brighter and brighter. And when they get further away, the lights go dimmer.
That would be very important information to have in your presentation. This is a very important thing.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Anna. You did a great job and your entire team.
Thank you.
Now I would like to go to the next team, and it is 3 pillars of humanity. Is the speaker?
Can you,
Yeah, perfect.
yes.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So let's go to the first slide, please. Thank you. Do you know what it feels like to be invisible to your community and your government? Next. For the people living in favelas, which are densely populated slums in Sao Paulo, Brazil, this is a reality. Next. There are 2 million people living in favelas. Next slide, please. There are 2 million people living in favelas. For these daily wage earners, the previous one. Self-isolation and quarantine are not practical. Sorry, it's the previous slide. And the virus is spreading in their communities. Yet the government started a lockdown and provided only $118 per family to some people on a 3-month period. This treatment has created so much inequity. Next, data in Sao Paulo shows that people who live in poor areas are up to 10 times more likely to die than people in wealthy areas because of the virus. When the people in favelas leave their homes, they risk contracting the virus. If we can make quarantine possible for them, we can slow the spread. Next, 87% of the population in Brazil has a smartphone, so it's possible to collect data for almost every family. Next, one of our team members based in Sao Paulo district, next please, will work with local charitable organizations and leaders in favelas to ensure everyone adopt the app. Next, with this app, we want to make sure that the problem of not having basic needs is solved by matching the needs with the resource. Our 3 pillars are sustenance needs, economic needs, and healthcare needs. The app was created with the belief that if we can connect the specific needs of each family with the resources that are close to their homes, we can make quarantine possible for this population. The app will have 2 sets of end users. Each family will fill out the questionnaire on their 3 main needs on a weekly basis. Next, charitable organizations, charitable organizations will fill out what resources they have, when and where they are delivering them within a 10-minute walk. Each family will be given a token number, and the app informs them that their number is up to collect those resources. Next, finally, the users will fill out a survey on whether their need was matched or not to collect the impact data. Our innovation is making sure that this needs problem is solved in real time. Next, our team has a diversity of skill sets. Our common connection is that we work with marginalized communities in Mexico, Argentina, India, and Brazil. This was our motivation to take up this challenge. Next, to sustain the running of the app, we will be offering, next please, we'll be offering advertising space for companies. Next, this is okay. Mahatma Gandhi said that the true measure of any society, next, can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Help us make the 3 pillars of immunity app and reality to fulfill our moral obligations to those in need. Next, and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the presentation. Any mentors would like to start? Judges, I mean.
Yep. Please go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Alfonso. You were about to start, please.
Thanks. I wonder about the sustainability of the project. Can you elaborate a bit deeper in the business model, please?
Of course. Our proposal is to let companies put some advertisements in order to have a benefit for us, for our app, I mean, like having the economic resource, and also those companies could spread the word on their
products.
On their services.
In the same context, second question, do you have this strategy to start the growing phase in order to have the minimum mass, the critical moment in order to be attractive for your sponsors and the publicity associated with this app?
So I will let my teammates to answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Florencia. So we are planning, one of our team members is already based in Sao Paulo, and we are planning on using her resources and the connections that she has with charitable organizations in the area to get charitable organizations to first adopt the app and put what resources they're delivering and where they're delivering them. And then because they are in connection with the people in the favelas, we plan to use them to promote the app in the favelas so that everyone in the favelas starts adopting the app, because we believe adoption is possible because 87% of the population does have smartphones, and the app also has a feature where for the people that do not have a phone, a family member or a neighbor can fill out the app for them and fill out their needs.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the amazing presentation. Unfortunately, we already reached 2 minutes as Q&A. And now it's time for the next team, which is Friends for LATAM.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, the next one, please. Next, please.
Okay.
14 million people in Latin America and the Caribbean could experience severe food and health insecurity this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the World Food Programme. On the other hand, 30% of Latin Americans are poor, and 10% are extremely poor, according to Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. At Friends for LATAM, our model is to generate educational content focused on health, food, and change habits to prevent contagion, considering the different dimensions placed by the World Health Organization, like economics, health, society, etc. Our methodology begins by having a first contact with the leaders of communities, maintaining a social distancing, and transferring this knowledge in person and through digital devices. Within our organization, there will be specialized personnel in accordance with alliance with our private, next please, Michael, thanks, private and public stakeholders. Additionally, we obtain donations through the website, and this will work to create campaigns and integration of volunteers. This platform, we also display results and statistics provided by users directly from the communities. Next, please. Okay, the differential that generates impact is that we train people, we empower people, we create self-development to transform the region. Click on visit, please, Nico. Thank you. Our proposal should be the winner because we are looking to empower communities to be self-sufficient, their culture be respect, and help them with their specific needs. This project is long-term oriented, which is definitely an advantage. Thank you very much and welcome your feedback.
Thank you so very much, Ivan. So we have 1 more minute for feedbacks as you just used 2 minutes. Which mentor would like to start? Judge, excuse me. Romulo, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, I can start. The first thing is that it wasn't quite clear really what is your objective here through the presentation. From what I could understand, you're trying to organize some sort of crowdfunding or different alternative sources of money to impoverished communities in Latin America. Is that it? Did I get it right?
Yes, exactly. We could obtain funding by the webpage, in this case, about donate, about all the people, and we create a fund like an ONG, in this case, in order to obtain sponsorship, around the region.
Okay, so it will be sort of like a mentorship to create efficient crowdfunding opportunities for underrepresented communities. Is that right?
Exactly, absolutely.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's the idea, yeah.
Okay. So my feedback will be, it's not only about the money, right? It's how you use the money. So you might want to think about putting it together after the crowdfunding is successful, some sort of strategy to help people in the usage of that money or those resources. So education, financial education is very important as a follow-up for the objective of your site. But it's a great project. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you very much, Rom.
Thank you so much, Romulo. Alfonso, you wanted to say something? We still have time.
Yep. I want to know about the timing of the implementation and also the relationship with the COVID-19.
Okay, nice question, Alfonso. In this case, we're thinking that we could cover this during the pandemic and after that. The idea is to implement this maybe in 6 or 9 months, because the web page supports that information, and maybe we need to obtain specialists, coverage and something like that, but maybe more or less 9 months ago. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. So now we're going to go for the next team, and the next team is 015, Iris.
I'm presenting. Okay.
Awesome.
Can you do me a favor? I'll put my hand up and you can go next.
Sounds good.
Okay. Give me a moment. Okay. Our product is efficient, innovative, and practical. She is Ilda Aharani, a resident of Nauta, who at the age of 78 was a victim of this disease. She is just one of thousands of faces that are being affected because of the problems that this region, lacking the necessary medicines or vitamins to help strengthen their immune system. In Latin America, 31.8% of people are poor and 11.5% are extremely poor. This makes them vulnerable not only to contracting COVID-19, but to dying because they cannot access the medicines or treatments to combat this virus. In the Loreto region, located in the Amazon of Peru, the health system has collapsed because of COVID-19. In Iquitos, the capital of Loreto, there are about 450 people. According to local estimates, more than half of the population of that city would contract COVID-19 if it hadn't already done so. Iris is born to fight this problem, providing all these communities the opportunity to access proper healthcare and communication by technology and innovation. Our journey will start supporting the communities near Iquitos and the Amazon River, like Quichua or Capanawa, aiming to reach all the communities on the shore of this river. The fluvial supply chain service in Amazon is one of the costliest in South America, costing between $100 to $500 per ton. Our solution is capable of reducing costs by 90% of the original price by using drones. We are Iris. We consist of a package delivery system using drones, supplying vitamins and PPE in packages to indigenous communities. And this is how it will work. We will use a rented boat using electric power that will move the packages down the river, serving both as a mobile base and as a battery charger. The boat will stop at a strategic site near the communities that will be supplied. A set of drones will take off from the boat, taking the packages to the communities. Meanwhile, the boat will move to the next delivery stop following a planned route. This solution will allow us to reach more remote and difficult access areas quickly and efficiently. This would allow us to use small drones that do not need to have a long autonomy or long range. Our business model has 3 important revenue streams: yearly contracts, aerial supply chain service, and the selling of imagery data. We will work directly with NGOs and government organizations, making yearly contracts, allowing us to provide a bridge with these communities continuously, additionally boosting trading between cities and communities. As we see that introducing this technology into the market can be complicated, we have seen fit to divide our project into 3 stages. First, we will create a dialogue, we will distribute the packages, and we will look for more funding. There are plenty of more possibilities. And then we can scale it as much as possible. Our team is composed of engineers and data scientists, but mostly dreamers. We are collaborating from various countries like the United States, Peru, Argentina, and Mexico. This is a dream our team wants to fulfill, a future where all human beings are integrated and have the same access to health services. Thank you.
For the presentation was great. Thank you. Any mentors would like to start?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, a great presentation, Maria. And one question, have you thinking about the cost or the escalation of this solution? Because every drone costs $2,500 every drone.
We have there in the slide the cost of the drones, and if you can go back, I'm not sure if it's there.
2,500.
Yes, well, we're gonna get funding from different organizations. We plan to go to nonprofits and go to the government. We're trying to go very small scale at first with just the district, the small region, and then scale it up as much as possible. We hope to get a lot of funding from the government and those nonprofits, and actually like raise some money of our own so we can do this project.
Okay, and one more question. How many packages can you deliver in one day with one drone?
It could be possibly 100 or so. It just depends, because if we're going very small scale, we're going to be able to do it more efficiently, as if we're trying to limit as much contact as possible, and we don't want any human interaction, so we don't want to go there to the indigenous people and possibly infect them. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to do it effectively and quickly, so we can get to various locations in one day that would have been faster and safer than actually going there in person.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. So times is up for Q&A. Now I would like to have the next team, and the next team is, hold on, team 002, Aini, or Aini.
Hi.
Awesome. Are you on the line? It's good. You have.
Yep.
Awesome. So whenever you're ready, let me know, and we are ready to start.
Imagine being sick and unable to communicate. My name is Caro Chavez, and we are Aini. We are here to help medical staff and patients communicate when they have a language barrier. Next, please. Did you know that in the world there are over 6,000 different languages? Just in Latin America, there are more than 20 million people who speak a native language. In most communities, the medical care system available to them is very limited, so they don't have translators. Patient-doctor miscommunication impacts on accurate diagnosis and hospitalization time. Next, please. Introducing Aini, the platform that brings together visual designers and public health providers to create a library of images
and drawings for patients to communicate their symptoms and their basic needs upon their arrival to the hospital and their stay there. Next, please. These images will be available as customizable flashcards, printable for their use in remote zones or shown into a device for internet-connected areas. Next, please. They can be implemented in mobile medical units, small clinics, and large hospitals whenever language barriers emerge. Next, please. The platform can be accessed by medical staff to download visual material of preventive messages, symptoms, aftercare practices, and custom-made requests that can be adapted for specific population needs. Next, please. We are a non-profit organization and rely on the contribution of designers, government, and other organizations to make a positive impact on those who are most vulnerable. Next, please. Our business model takes into consideration that our final user is not our buyer. The platform maintains itself from sponsors, grants, and demographic data that can be shared to organizations to keep helping marginal communities. Next. In the market, there are a few medical apps to help translate mainstream languages, but they don't take into account the minorities. By using images instead of written languages, we can provide help for a larger audience, even those illiterate. Next, please. COVID-19 infects all without distinguishing cultures. We should also be able to provide treatment without distinction. Aini means help in Quechua. Aini, helping patients to be understood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. It was a great presentation. Time for judges to give their feedback. Anyone would like to start?
Well, I'm curious about, this is Seema, great concept. I'm curious about whether you've seen these kinds of visuals be effective, or kind of what resources you've studied on health education using visuals.
Yeah, for example, we found that one hospital in the USA used these cards actually as an aid to patients' care, and especially for nursing. So if they cannot speak, they can point out their special needs if they don't want to eat, if they need some assistance, and this helps communicate. Now we want to adapt all these visuals in order to make them appropriate for the target users, which are indigenous communities.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you so much. You have any additional question, or is it good?
No, I'm good.
No problem. Another mentor judge would like to ask a question? Nobody? All right, then we're good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks. Time for the next team. Team F040, Covey, the data boss.
Okay. I'm not sure if I succeeded in raising my hand, but I'll be presenting for our team.
Awesome.
So for the slide changes, I'll simply be saying next. And we have a couple of quick slide changes here in the beginning. So actually, whenever you'd like me to begin, if you can just change the slide, I'll go ahead.
No problem. So I'm going to start right now.
We'd like you to imagine a world where we could know if people are infected. Next slide, please. Next slide. Without them ever having to leave their communities or even their homes. Next slide. A world in which we had answers to some of the most pressing questions in this pandemic, including ones which we have not yet thought to ask. Next. In Latin America alone, millions of people are living in poverty without access to even the most basic healthcare. And the healthcare system, including doctors, clinicians, public health officials, and researchers, do not have access to them. This includes a large portion of the population who may not even own a smartphone. Next. We want to close this gap. We want to bring these people, their information, and their well-being into the global healthcare conversation. To do this, we need information. But the good news is we already have all of the technology we need for a public health revolution. We just need the right paradigm to make it work. Next. At DataBoss, our solution is a three-pronged one, which involves broad data collection made possible by a single, easy-to-use application deployed both on mobile phones and on our innovative and publicly available kiosks, which can be accessed even by those who may not own a mobile device. This data will be collected from users in a form that is already optimized for feeding into existing or emerging artificial intelligence networks. In this way, the gathering, analysis, and response to healthcare information can be standardized, democratized, and expanded in ways that are unprecedented in human history. Next. We envision a network of information flow relying on these new sources and augmented by that already collected in other settings. From this data lake will be accessed and used by anyone around the world with the ideas and the computational ability to make this data work for all of us. Next. A linchpin of this approach is our innovative hardware solution to deploy simple kiosks inspired by those which in many countries are already in widespread use for things like mobile phone payments. But instead of the hardware we're used to seeing in such kiosks, ours will be outfitted with the robust and inexpensive technology that provides the most vital and basic physiological data which reports on the health of a person. Next. Underlying this interface is a software solution, artificial intelligence, which can help us learn to make full use of this data. Because in addition to information whose importance to human health we already understand, like temperature or blood oxygenation level, there is a wealth of data that machines can teach us how to use. Next, please. In the past 24 hours, our team members have already created designs and prototypes for the hardware, front and back end software powering this solution. Next. In the beginning, I asked you to imagine, but we have a team that has already started making this world a reality. Next. We are Team F40. We thank you for your attention, and we look forward to working with you as we implement this project.
Thank you very much, Abby. Place for judges. Would you, any judge would like to start? Yeah, Marcelo.
Yes. Yeah, congratulations for the project. I have two questions. My first question is, what is the cost of a prototype of this kind of machine or kiosk?
Yeah, very minimal. It looks like our slide had a little bit of a text issue there, but the basic hardware components that we would need here are an infrared temperature sensor that costs, that gun that they use costs about $70. We need a pulse oximeter. That picture is from my own. I have one here. I purchased it for $42. We also, I think if someone can mute their microphone, I hear some Spanish conversation. And a UV sensitizer or desanitizer is in the range of a couple $100 depending on the scale that you need. Microcomputer to operate all these components, again, on the scale of $100 to $200 depending on the power. And then the rest would be just the 3D printing of some kind of plastic encasing. So this prototype, we've actually discussed building it. It's a kind of do-it-yourself thing. We don't need to have external buy-in simply to create the prototype. It can be done in a garage. And then we can go to partners with an existing prototype with some of that basic functionality for a cost that's probably under $1,000 per unit.
One more question before the time is out. How do you think to deliver these kiosks to communities?
Yeah, so we thought about that too. We actually envisioned that we can probably send them a self-assembly kit from these components with basic instructions, and that can be done, with someone who knows how to read but doesn't need any further technical background. And
Okay.
that's modeled after some existing technologies that we know about.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby, for the explanation and your great pitch. Next team is F00. No, that's a mistake. 004 already was here, right? Or not? Are you demos? Have you already pitched?
No, I haven't.
Okay, no problem. It's me then. Let me share the screen quickly. All right.
So
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready. Hi, everyone.
Awesome.
My name is Tanvi, and we are Ayudemos, a platform to bridge the gap between people in need and those willing and able to help. Next, please. When addressing the inequalities that are causing the disproportionate effects of COVID-19 on Indigenous communities, two things become clear. The first is the lack of monetary funds and resources to provide adequate aid, and then there's the difficulty in a successful delivery. Given that social organizations like COICA and the Amazon Emergency Fund are already using their connections to build a delivery system, we decided to focus on providing ways for them to acquire additional resources. There is an inherent gap in the system between social organizations serving Indigenous communities and private players both globally and locally that are willing and able to provide this aid. This gap is the problem and is restricting the ability to properly serve communities in need. Next, please. Our solution is Ayudemos, a platform that aims to create a solidarity network through a two-pronged approach. The first being monetary donations that allow for global involvement. The second being smaller, more local projects focused on material donations for community empowerment. The goal of this initiative will be connecting with local individuals to provide and transport material resources. Next, please. The Ayudemos Solidarity Network streamlines the process of connecting donors and volunteers with organizations serving communities in need. We want to foster a platform that will outlast the pandemic, empower communities to help themselves, and create long-term relationships. To begin this initial implementation of the Solidarity Network and to take into consideration the restrictions caused by the pandemic, we want to pilot with monetary donations. To do so, we will partner with Indigenous-led social organizations working on the ground. Examples of this could include COICA or the APIB, which provide monetary and resource support to local aid initiatives. Next, please. So to understand this first phase a little more, let's follow Nadia through the process. When scrolling through Instagram, Nadia sees one of Ayudemos' posts about the Karubo people's battle against COVID-19. Curious, she views their profile. Next, please. Inspired by their story, Nadia goes onto Ayudemos' website and reads a little bit more about the Karubo people. Compelled to support the pandemic relief initiative, Nadia donates $15. Next, please. On the ground, Ayudemos' partners receive her donation and are able to provide resources for the community's initiative. Next, please. A few weeks later, Nadia receives an email updating her about the progress on the Karubo People's Project. Thrilled by the impact she was able to have, she refers the app to her friend and shares the initiative on Facebook, further expanding Ayudemos' network. Next, please. To measure the impact of stories like Nadia's, we want to implement this pilot program through the rest of 2020 and use metrics such as the number of repeat donors and grants funded. We will begin building the local aspect of the Solidarity Network starting in 2021. With this plan, our initial efforts focus on providing COVID-19 relief for the Amazonian indigenous. Next, please. However, with aims to launch a system of solidarity that will surpass the pandemic and tackle prevailing issues, it's clear that the sky is the limit for Ayudemos. On behalf of our team, thank you so much, and we're now open to questions.
Great, thank you so much for the talk. Any judge would like to ask the first question?
This is Seema. I would like to understand how you're going to uncover these. I like very much this concept of having very empowered communities and empowering them to create localized solutions with money. but how are you going to find, select those organizations?
Sure. So I think it's important to kind of split up the aspects of this a little bit more. So organizations like COICA, the way they function is Indigenous communities that are leading their own initiatives and recognize the needs of their own people apply for grants to that organization, and they use that money to further their own self-created kind of local initiatives. So what Ayudemos does is aggregates all of these people that want to help and may not know about or have access to these people or these organizations. They donate over Ayudemos. COICA receives the funds and then can then distribute it to these different villages and community leaders who can use it to kind of help themselves and help their community.
So you have a specific target already identified. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have a second question from another judge? Maybe Alfonso or Romulo? Nope. All right.
Yep. Alfonso.
Oh, Alfonso, perfect. Yeah.
Do you have a strategy in order to monitor, to make the follow-up of the final destinations of the donations?
Sure. So that is something that we would partner with COICA with, in that when they receive the grants, they'll provide us with the information about the village, where it is, what kinds of efforts that money would be going toward. And then that grant will then be featured on our website. And so when people make donations, they're aware of kind of, hey, I'm donating to this particular village in this area. And that way the money will be tracked and they'll be able to receive an email update, kind of what's happening with the money that they donated.
Any specific strategy for the final users in order to monitor that the money is really getting the final destination, not just the intermediate steps?
Sure. I think that's something that as a platform we have to consider in terms of deciding which social organizations to partner with, in that are we ensuring, like, what is the % of money that is actually being used for something that's effective and meaningful and direct? And so that's definitely something we would need to consider, not only when implementing phase 1, which is the monetary donations, but also when building up phase 2 of when you're talking about smaller, more local organizations, how do you ensure that whatever time, effort, resources are being put in are directly impacting the people that they're meant to help? So that is definitely something that we want to consider long-term.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanvi, for the presentation and the answers to the questions. Now it's time for the next team, Team F023, ATM at the moment.
Thank you. So Samuel and I will be presenting. Can everyone hear me okay?
Can everyone hear me? Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next slide, please. In Latin America's urban slums, residents are forced to choose between starving or dying from the coronavirus. Next slide. In hard-hit Lima, Peru, where 3 in 5 residents live in slums, coronavirus lockdowns have worsened existing problems pertaining to food insecurity. In Lima slums, most residents work in the informal sector and lack access to a social safety net. These individuals must continue to work to feed their families. Next, please. Increased food scarcity in slums has resulted from the closure of many of Lima's markets and food banks. In addition, domestic travel restrictions have trapped migrant workers in Lima's urban slums, increasing food scarcity. Distribution of food has also been disrupted due to COVID-related labor shortages. Resulting non-compliance with social distancing measures in slums due to fear of starvation has led to rapid spread of disease in these communities. Next slide. To combat this problem, we introduce El Cajero de Alimentación, the food ATM, a solar-powered, contactless food bank. Next slide. Residents will interface with the Cajero in Spanish or Quechua through a voice-controlled application. Distribution of food will be regulated through facial recognition. Next slide. A secure, nameless, internet-enabled database will monitor individuals' food withdrawal to prevent stealing from other cajeros. Next slide. Dry rice and beans will be stored in modified steel drums attached to a dispenser apparatus we have designed, encased in a steel box for security. Next slide. When activated by the tablet interface, the wheel will rotate to release dried food into the chute to fill residents' bags with food. Our solution will fix our previously mentioned problems. Our plan allows slum residents to comply with social distancing measures without fear of starvation by alleviating food scarcity. And cajeros will store dried goods for an extended period of time, alleviating logistical difficulties with food delivery. Next slide.
Our business model involves partnering with hackathon affiliates such as Amazon Web Services for the app design and local business partners for helping us tap into the Peruvian supply chains. Our solution is also cost effective, as you can see here. Economies of scale should reduce the cost of units, food supplies, and logistics. Strategic funding partners include the World Food Program, Innovate Peru, who we spoke with, and governmental sources along with universities who can provide thought leadership and resources. Next, we can deliver results in just 3 agile sprints through our pilot in Huasacar, a slum in Peru. Our plan includes understanding user needs, building partnerships, developing a prototype, and then launching it. With user feedback, we hope to improve our next iteration and expand our reach with the support of MIT Scale. Next, our solution has the potential to reach 8 million impacted people. If there's anything you can take away from our pitch, we hope it is ACT. Increased accessibility to food, enhanced community well-being, and improved trust and security. Next. I'd love to thank our wonderful mentors, next, as well as my diverse cohort of fellow teammates who've really helped us through this phase. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to listen to your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any mentors, Judge, thanks. Start with a question.
Yeah, if I might start, first of all, congratulations. It's a very elegant solution, and I love that on your solution. But obviously, my main concern is about security as a whole, right? And we know that if we put something physical in the slums, as you're talking about, there's a lot of security issues there. Not only about the equipment itself, but even how to avoid fraud or even, stealing of equipment and all that. So that would be something very hard to tackle. So what is your overall strategy to maintain security on the spots that your solution will be delivered?
So I'll start by addressing this question, and Maureen, you can go ahead and fill in anything that I might miss. So for physical security measures of the apparatus itself, first of all, the apparatus will be bolted into the ground, and these apparatuses are going to be very heavy. They can all fit, they can be filled with, 1,900 liters of food, which is, since due to the density of rice and beans, this is approximately 3,000 kilograms. So there would be hard to steal. Additionally, where we're actually filling the apparatuses, we're going to have one-way valves on the top that are going to be virtually impossible to tamper with, and we'll engineer those with our partners to ensure people can't reach in. And the actual chute apparatus will be very narrow, so people can't reach in that way. We'll be working with our partners, such as Amazon Web Services, to develop an application that is fraud-proof, that uses facial recognition technology to ensure that people are complying with the set distribution that we have allotted, which will end up being 560 grams of a rice and bean mixture for individuals every day. And they will be able to access the bank and get those calories in increments twice per week. We'll make sure that individuals can only get their allotted rice and beans mixture twice per week as well, to improve social distancing and make sure there's no clustering around the machine.
If I may just add 2 really quick points there. I know we're at time, but we've seen best practices from a similar implementation at Vietnam. So we're actually leveraging those. And the second thing, as we were speaking with one of our mentors, that same issue of corruption or lack of safety came up. And that's where we thought, why not leverage the community and community leaders in the slums? I mean, we're all in a terrible situation here. So hopefully we can use the power of those people's leadership to maintain the ethics and combat some of this corruption.
Great job, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to finally officialize the end of this pitch competition and hackathon. We will have the award ceremony in less than 1 hour. And for that, once again, I mean, honestly, I think Olympia also can say that it's impressive how fast you change your, your pitch and your ideas, and you iterated so fast since this morning. I'm personally really like completely astonished by the achievement and the teamwork, and apparently a lot of teams, you had a lot of fun. I could see that in the chat, so really congrats. I hope that it was an amazing experience, and no matter who is winning, actually that's not the goal. The goal is really the journey, right? It's not about the goal, it's about the journey, and you all have been in an amazing journey this weekend. So congrats and kudos to you guys. We will now discuss with the judges. We will announce, of course, the winners in the award ceremony. Olympia, would you like to say something to finish? Or
Yes, I would like to, I was just ready to write something on the chat. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and to finding a solution for Latin America. It's well appreciated. Beautiful development from the beginning to the end, and keep working because we need you. Thank you.
That's exactly true, Olympia. We need dreamers, we need innovators, we need motivated people like you. And it's been amazing pleasure to work with you, despite it was very intense. And thanks for all your patience. Every time we were a little bit late, I think we really appreciate your understanding.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Looks
that someone has not presented.
Oh,
look
really?
At the chat, please. Yeah.
Who is that? 41.
41. You're right. Actually, you're right. One team hasn't presented. Let me quickly get the presentation. Do you have the?
We'll have to put it. If you don't find it, we had problems with the presentation. Somebody was tampering. That's why we were late too. 41. I don't see it. Oh my goodness. 1 second, please.
Do you have it, Olympia?
Yes, I got it. 1 second. I'm going to put it on the presentation at the end, I guess.
Sure.
1 second.
Or you can just share it. If you want, you can just share your screen this time.
Oh, that's true. Let me share my beautiful screen. That will make it easier.
Thanks, Rachel, to let us know. Thank you.
41. I better put it in presentation mode first before I. But it doesn't have the title. Well, whatever I get, okay? Sorry about this.
Okay, Olympia, in case.
Yes, I got it. 1 second, okay. It's coming.
No problem.
And is the person up?
Hi, yes, I am from group 41.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I start now. Did you know that around 3,000 people from the jungle and Andean mountain areas in Peru move and settle to the capital in order to sustain their families every year? and they live in precarious and unhealthy conditions. In a neighborhood called Cantagallo in Lima, filled with Shipibo ethnic families, there are 475 out of 656 confirmed cases of COVID. Next, please. But what are we doing now to change this? We need to take action now. Next, please. What we propose is a system that will help in three main areas. Give out information about the pandemic to prevent the spread of COVID, capture whichever symptoms the users have, and offer immediate solutions by providing medicine specific to the symptoms presented or medical aid if the issue is more serious. But how are we going to implement this? It's something really simple that can make such a big difference in our community, actually. This is COVID Help Team. These are kiosks or ATM-like machines that can be interrupted through voice recognition, setting the languages spoken in the area's place. So how does this work? The kiosk will come with a computer to give information and register symptoms with a microphone setting various native languages, necessary equipment to measure glucose level, temperature, and basic problems, and a medicine dispenser with an automatic counter for each medicine, principally antivirals at the moment. And after the pandemic ends, it could also be used as an accessible medical aid kit tool that will help with other problems, and it could be placed even in highways because there are a lot of accidents that happen there. This project will also help the medical forces gain more experience, and with the help of the government financing it, it will make more decentralized country. We will start by placing them in places like Barrios Altos, where Cantagallo is located, placing 6 kiosks all around the zone. Next, please. So in essence, this proposal shows that it's not very difficult to help the marginalized population. We are making an immediate, innovative, and plausible solution to a problem. Next, please. And the best part is that you don't need a lot of money to carry it out. It only costs $5,037 for all 6 machines and $839 per kiosk. Next, please. So are you seriously going to let this opportunity go? Next. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Alexandra. That was great, and we really truly apologize for what just happened. I hope that this didn't put you in a very bad state, mood to do this presentation. Congrats to you, and thanks for doing it.
Thank
Mentor, judges, are you still here? I hope.
Yes.
Would you like to ask the first question?
Yes, congratulations, Alessandra. My first concern is about security. What do you think about? Yes, about the security of medicine, about the robbery of medicine.
In the kiosk itself, you mean? Yeah. I think that it wouldn't really be a problem. We need to make like some very secure machine and make it like really locked. I don't know how else.
Okay. No
also, we were thinking about putting a system that will help us know when all the medicine are gone and how many people is going to be part of the machine. With this, we were hoping to secure also the medicine.
Okay, thank you. And one more question: why do you thought about implement that in urban areas and not in a rural area?
We were starting in urban areas actually because we saw this case in the Shipibo neighborhood in Lima, and it actually told us that it's not really that far away from us, from the city, and we would like to
your own implementation.
What?
You're thinking that your team implement this in your communities, in your own communities?
Yes, but at the moment we'll start in urban areas because they have more access to easy internet.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alexandra, once again, really thanks for all to participate. We have 20 seconds to do a few screenshots so everyone can have a kind of a souvenir from this event. If you want to put your camera quickly, we just do one. Let's go in 10 seconds. We can do a nice screenshot. I will let you know. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers. All right, I don't have everyone. Keep going. I do more. Yeah. Okay, 3 of 5. Cheers, guys. And I think we are good. Thank you so much, everyone. It was really an amazing pleasure to do this. And see you later on the judge final ceremony. Thank you.
Bye. Everyone say
bye.
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 Thank you.
What time is
everyone.
Thanks.
In half an hour.
And the judges, can they wait for us or
awesome. Nice to meet you all.
Bye-bye. Absolutely.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Luck,
A lot of
everyone.
talent here. Thank you very much.
Sure, a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
I think we lost our phone.
Yeah, we can call them in another chat, Olympia. Maybe in this creating a Slack and calling.
I already have another
Zoom?
Zoom. If we want to go to another Zoom,
Sure, we can do this.
I can, or can it? I don't want to stay here because somebody was getting in before. I can share on the slide. 1 second, I want to see. I put it for 3:30. Okay, I'll put it on a Slack for you so you can, for everybody there in the group. So we can go to that if you don't mind.
Of course.
You put it in the 10 track F judges?
Yes, I can put it in there.
Thank you.
On the judge.
Do this.
On the mentors, no.
There
On
is
the
a
judges?
track named 10,
Track F judges,
number
yeah.
10 underscore track underscore F underscore judges.
I don't have
it. You are in.
track judges? You mean track F judges, Alfonso?
Yes.
Okay.
No. That is for all the judges. I think that.
No. I think she was right. It's track underscore F.
Track F judges.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah.
There it goes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Let's meet there. Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, that is wrong again.
It is wrong?
No, that I just put the whole. I copy the invitation.
No problem.
And then I can stop this recording.
Yep.
Wait until we can really go there.
Yeah, we can go now. I think I'm leaving. See you.
See you.